Imagine your country's flag being burned. What would be your reaction? Your country is being disrespected day and night. And what's frustrating is that countries like the US, Canada, UK, or as a matter of fact, almost all Western countries, do nothing. Leave the flags, it happens everywhere in the world. What if your country's diplomats are threatened in another country, and the host country does nothing to ensure their safety? Apparently, that country thinks it's their right to do so. Canada is doing it every day, and not just Canada, the US and the UK are also guilty. Less than 24 hours after I published my last video, Canada dropped a bombshell and accused India of killing a Sikh leader inside Canadian soil.
Pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
The Sikh leader is not just my word, it's Canada's and the Western media's. The perfect designation would be a dreaded Khalistani terrorist. Bear in mind, a Sikh and a Khalistani are different. The basic difference between a Sikh and a Khalistani is that Sikhs are courageous, honorable, compassionate, while Khalistanis are terrorists, cowards, and all sorts of things I'd like to say, but can't, due to YouTube policy. Let me give you some quick facts that happened during the past 2 weeks. Trudeau accused India of killing a terrorist and expelled a diplomat. India retaliated and expelled one of Canada's. Canada released a travel advisory, and in a tit-for-tat response, India did the same. And India went one step further and banned all Canadian visas from entering India. Meanwhile, Canada said it has credible information that agents of India may have killed the Canadian terrorist on their soil. Now, in any international matter, there exists a protocol that demands that when the leader of a country addresses their parliament and starts pointing fingers at another nation, they're supposed to bring some serious evidence to the table. However, in Trudeau's case, it's like he's playing hide and seek with those credentials. And what's his proof? It's, trust me bro, India did this. You are telling your parliament and your citizens that a foreign country killed one of your citizens, and your proof is, if and may. You don't have any concrete proof. The truth is, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was murdered in Canada, was a gangster turned terrorist. What's common with gangsters and terrorists around the world is that there are rival gangsters and rival terrorists. And sometimes they align with each other's ideology, but most of the time, they're at odds with each other. Days after Trudeau's bombshell, another terrorist, Sukhdev Singh, who was associated with Khalistani terrorist Arshdeep Singh, met his end in Winnipeg, Canada, by a rival gangster. Will Trudeau blame it on India again? Well, he might. In 2017, Sukhdev Singh, alias Sukha Dunuke, obtained a passport and a police clearance certificate on forged documents to flee to Canada, despite having 18 criminal cases registered against him in Punjab. He managed to escape Punjab with the help of 2 police officials, who were later arrested by Moga police. Many individuals with pro-Khalistani leanings have gone from India to Canada. Some of them use fake documents or have criminal backgrounds. These individuals often have strong connections with organized crime syndicates. They claim persecution by the Indian government as their reason for seeking Canadian citizenship. This situation has created fertile ground for gangsters who, after entering Canada, engage in criminal activities such as murder, land grabbing, and extortion. Dunuke is one such gangster who operated from Canada and was involved in various criminal activities, including extortion calls to people in India. And on many occasions, India has shared information about gangsters with Canada. But Canada chose not to act against them. India earlier shared that more than 23 gangsters from Punjab are currently based in Canada, and a list of most wanted has already been shared with the Canadian government and its intelligence agencies. These gangsters are moving to Canada on fake passports. Yes, Nijjar did the same as well. Hardeep Singh Nijjar fled to Canada on a fake passport in 1997. In India, he was wanted under India's Terrorist Act for several cases, including a 2007 cinema bombing in Punjab that killed 6 people and injured 40, and the 2009 assassination of Sikh Indian politician, Rulda Singh. So, describing him as an activist in Western media is akin to labeling Osama bin Laden as a community organizer. Khalistani terror organization leader, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, was granted Canadian citizenship months after a Red Corner Notice, RCN, was issued against him. A Red Corner Notice is a request issued by Interpol to locate and provisionally arrest a person pending extradition. It is not an international arrest warrant, but rather a notification to law enforcement agencies worldwide that a person is wanted by a member country based on a valid national arrest warrant or court decision. It is pertinent to note that after an RCN is issued by Interpol, a country is bound to arrest and deport the accused back to his or her homeland. However, Canada did not do so in Nijjar's case. The current presence of a significant number of gangsters in Canada can be partially linked to Trudeau's policies. These policies seem to prioritize freedom of speech and have facilitated the granting of Canadian citizenship, even for individuals with criminal records and questionable backgrounds from other countries. Where was his freedom of speech when he suppressed peaceful trucker protests? He not only vilified them, but also froze their bank accounts. And whenever Trudeau is asked to take action against Khalistani terrorists, he replies, saying they will protect their freedom of protest and speech, which includes hateful speech, vandalizing Hindu temples, and glorifying the killing of a former Indian Prime Minister. In fact, the current state of Khalistani activity in Canada is that they threaten Hindu communities in Canada to leave, and they are doing it openly because they know Trudeau won't do anything about it. And without their support, Trudeau's government could collapse. So, does Canada have absolute freedom of speech, and because of his government, can they take action against it? No, Canada does not have absolute freedom of speech. Although freedom of expression is guaranteed by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, there's a pretty big loophole nobody mentions. The preamble to the Charter explicitly states that freedom of speech is subject to reasonable limits. In Canada, hate speech, obscenity, and defamation fall under common categories of restricted speech. Furthermore, there exists another aspect of the Charter, which grants provincial governments the authority to override any freedom, as long as they make a public announcement of their intention to do so. This implies that one could face fines, or even imprisonment, based on their words. A tweet deemed to willfully promote hatred could lead to a 2-year jail sentence.
One more question related to in your country, that how your government is dealing with the outfits called Khalistan, and which is known as anti-India.
Well, in Canada, we love people of all faiths.
So any action against the Khalistani outfits?
All faiths are welcome in Canada.
Any comments on referendum they called?
All faiths are welcome in Canada.
Thank you so much.
The government had the capacity to take action against the violent Khalistanis, but opted not to do so. Instead, they are suppressing peaceful protests by truckers in Canada, while not addressing legitimate violators of free speech, like Khalistani terrorists. This suggests that the Canadian government perceives the truckers' protest as the primary threat that requires suppression. At the beginning of this video, I played a Nazi propaganda audio showing Trudeau in it, and I didn't include the video unnecessarily. Let me tell you why. If you're from the West, just imagine waking up one day and witnessing your government giving a standing ovation to a former Nazi soldier. How would you react? This is precisely what has happened in Canada under Trudeau's regime, and it stands as a grave insult to the memory of Canada's sons and daughters who valiantly fought against Nazism during World War II. Recently, the Canadian Parliament not only gave one, but 2 standing ovations to a 98-year-old former Nazi SS officer. Do you know who was eligible to become an SS officer in Nazi Germany? Only those considered to have the purest Aryan blood. Yes, he is the purest of the purest, as an SS soldier Canada has got. So you see, just like the rogue state of Pakistan, Canada is a safe haven for all extremist, terrorist, former Nazi officials, etc. Now, Poland is seeking the extradition of Jaroslav Hunka due to his Nazi association during World War II, and the very same person who was applauded in the Canadian Parliament. Nevertheless, considering Canada's historical hesitance in handling similar extradition matters, I am confident they will not comply with Poland's request. This confidence stems from the evidence I presented in my previous video, showcasing Prime Minister Trudeau's support for extremists within his own country.